think I'm a Weisenheimer? Do you think I'm a funny man sometimes? How would you describe me to friends? Other than the radio stuff.
Like, I think you are...
Like a filled donut, so sort of crunchy on the outside, but there's like a soft...
But yeah, what is it? All right, have we stroked your ego enough to start the show?
I thought you were going to say something nice about me.
Oh, you can
You're
say
very creative. Because what is worse than an opinion? An uninformed opinion, right? It's just nonsense. It's like you spewing nonsense. But none of that is making us smarter. It's making us dumber, in my opinion.
So what's making us dumber? Reality shows or social media?
Well, they're both bad. We are relying on something else to do what we should do. And if I'm going to sit here and say we're in the era of stupidity, which I still believe, strongly believe, that's my evidence. We have demonstrated over and over again.
What was the height of intellectualism if we're in the era of stupidity right now? Anyways, which topic are we doing today? This is a double whammy. So if you're listening to us now, Steve is going on vacation.
Yes.
So we're doing back-to-back podcasts, trying to choose some evergreen topics for your listening enjoyment. Where are we going first today?
The era of stupidity. So
are we just entering that now, or we've been here?
No, we've been here for a while. So it goes back to an article that I think I sent you. Yes, right, from the Atlantic. It was like 2022, I think it was written.
Jonathan Haidt.
Yeah.
Have you read any of his books?
Yes, brilliant writer. I mean, the guy, he understands the psyche and the sort of the mindset of America, this country that I think, and his article, long article, kind of references that for a lot of reasons, and this is sort of the part that drives me nuts. Oh, by the way, I'm Steve Scaffidi. This is Kristin and Brey. We have a show called Point Taken, but this is not that. This is You Need to Listen, a podcast that gives you the direct command in the actual name so that you're not confused. Like if you name the podcast Scaffidi Brey, like why the hell would I listen to that? You Need to Listen tells you go find this on your favorite social media platform, podcast platform, and then go listen to it for the full thing. Not
and
like
engage.
And engage at our emails, which we'll give at the end. Not 5 minutes, the whole podcast. Because you can hit pause. If you got to go to the bathroom, hit pause, come back to it.
You don't think people just listen to their podcast while they're going to the bathroom?
I don't know. I always pause it.
Most people take their phone into the bathroom. Are you not?
I don't take mine.
Oh, really? You're not? You don't sit in the toilet and scroll?
Anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. So, brilliant article. So let's set up why
it's an old. So first,
2022.
It's a 2022 article. It's talking a lot about things that Jonathan Haidt specifically is still talking about, which is social media and the breakdown that is happening because of our algorithms and our tribalism.
Right.
But the article, I was listening to it. It's like an hour long just to listen to it, let alone read how
lots
long it
of
takes
pages.
to read
I think it's 34 pages.
So where do you want to take it?
Let me give you my thoughts on why I think we're here. So, as much as I love technology, I'm a fan of AI. I spent a lot of my research time, reading time, watching time, learning about AI. Artificial general intelligence. I watched a podcast over the weekend about the godfather of AI and what he thought then and what he thinks now, and it's alarming, the lack of control, which ties into what Haidt said about social media. We actually grew up with social media that was sort of fun, right?
What do you mean we grew up?
You grew up.
I grew up with, yeah. So,
I didn't.
All right, so let's do the timeline. The timeline was like Friendster, MySpace, circa 2002, 2003. Facebook originally only for if you had an EDU email address, 2004.
Students, basically.
I'm trying to think of I was 18 in 2004. So by 2010, still it was really just Facebook. I mean, Twitter was around.
Yeah. Twitter was like the late 2000s, right? 2008,
like 2007, 2008, I think. And then Instagram, I think, started to become big 2011, 2012. But all of this, at least in the article, also changes once the ability to reshare, to retweet or share stuff, or like the promotion of someone else's thing and how you go viral and all of that. And so there is a shift that has happened as far as how this used to feel. I've been talking, I think I said this before, the idea of FOMO once was from
fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out because you were seeing your friends do cool stuff on social media. And now it is such that you have fear of missing out from the conversation that is happening online. Like you'll be living your life and feeling like, what am I missing that is happening in the news and the conversation that is happening about that news that is happening on my phone that I am afraid of missing out on, especially in our kinds of jobs where like we need to be talking about like what the zeitgeist is and what's happening. But that's not real life.
It's not real life. And I noticed it a while back with the sort of the popularity of award shows, Oscars. Everybody on Twitter felt the need to comment on what was happening, right? They have to offer to the world their little, how many characters is it? 281? What is Twitter now?
What originally was 140?
Yeah, 140.
And now I think it's 280.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't know what X is now.
It's like, why would I care about that? So you're watching an event, and it became this constant stream. If you stayed on Twitter, which I used to, like watching that thing go, TweetDeck or whatever way you would consume that. Just like inane comment after inane comment. So everyone thinks they're a critic now. Everyone has knowledge they think they have about the television industry, in that case, the movie industry. You don't have any knowledge, but everyone has to have their own frickin' opinion. And it's sort of that universe where we all have to comment on something is helping to make us all dumber. Because what is worse than an opinion? An uninformed opinion, right? It's just nonsense. It's like you spewing nonsense. There can be an educated opinion, like you work in the car industry and you have sort of a knowledge about that industry. Maybe it's sort of tangential to what you do, maybe not, but you at least have an informed opinion. But everyone is an expert on movies and TV shows and politics and medicine and name it. And that is now our consumed culture. We're all weighing in. We're all making these frickin' videos, whether it's TikTok or Twitter, for both entertainment, content creation, sometimes monetized, and to tell the world, as an individual, what you think about something. But none of that is making us smarter. It's making us dumber, in my opinion.
So what's making us dumber, reality shows or social media?
Well, they're both bad. And you have correctly pointed out to me there are some reality shows I like, right? The ones that like build things. I'm a fan of that. Landscaping shows, big fan. You show me someone that improve their yard, I'm going to love those people. I may write them a letter.
So what is the argument? So the argument in the article is that social media has ushered in an era of stupidity.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because we've never had more information at our fingertips than
That's
we do
the
right
thing.
now.
That's the paradox, right? All this technology, but we're dumber.
And I honestly think AI is only going to make us dumber.
You said that. I don't share that, but
there's already proof that people their critical thinking skills, their writing skills. Like if you start to automate things that are exercising your brain, that you become reliant on a machine to do for you. One, I think it will also end up eroding some of these like large language models because like product in, product out, right? So if there is a erosion of our creativity and the kind of real human brain work that needs to be fed into an LLM to then be able to produce interesting work out. Like there's already this thing as like the AI slop. Have you heard about this?
Oh yeah.
As far as like no, that's AI slop is like the random videos.
I just did a podcast on it.
The other what was the term now? It's the increase of work because people are using shortcuts of using AI.
Yeah.
So it's like you turn in a project, your boss gets the project and has to basically go in and either edit or improve all the mistakes that AI did, but you did your part. And so because AI is still far from being a great worker, there's a lot of work that goes into improving the product that it's spitting out.
In the short term, you're correct. The product that AI is putting out is filled with flaws, is not perfect or whatever perfect, define whatever you want that term to mean. So there is sort of that oversight editor in terms of written language or written words, or written copy. But in the future, those problems, because AI learns from itself, right? Artificial general intelligence will correct that because they constantly are learning. They have access to everything. So they will see the best of the best. So to answer your question about the individual, yes, internally, AI will make us even more dumber. The output of an individual, if they use AI correctly, makes them appear smarter. You get what I'm saying? Because the content will be way better.
Does it make them appear smarter, or does it make them just get more done?
That's also true. But if their output is AI created and AI fact-checked and AI, just because of the tenure and the longevity of AI gets better and better and better at doing it, their output, their work output, their personal communication will all be better even though they may be dumber, because all they're really doing is asking a question in the AI world. And that's the weird part about this. So when you have something like social media where you're not really asking AI to create your tweet, your post, or whatever, you're going to be dumb, which is what we see every day on social media. You're just dumb because you're not utilizing anything else other than your brain, which you may or may not be using. That's the problem. The other part is social media and tribalism is making this worse as well, because now we have camps where we didn't have camps before. I don't know if we talked about...
Have you ever seen the tribalism be as bad as it was now?
No. I've watched this for 40 years.
Like, this is...
There was one moment during the Monica Lewinsky thing where it was pretty bad. Democrats and Republicans hated each other. One, they thought Bill Clinton should leave, and Democrats say he's not leaving. That was as bad as I remember, but that's the 90s. It's a long time ago. But even
during, because I'm trying to think of coming of age and George W. Bush being president, and that felt like there was a lot, because obviously there was so much contention around Florida and the election and whether or not, he didn't win the popular vote and everything that with the Al Gore stuff. But then he was president, and then obviously we got into 9/11 happened and wars
Everything
happened.
Changed, yeah.
But things felt partisan then. But you say no. I'm trying to just put this into historical context of how bad things feel right now, and if it's always been like this. And this is a recurring theme, I think, for us. Like on our last podcast, I think we talked about, have we always been this violent? But
no.
So I guess what argument are you trying to make right now?
So one thing, just want to quickly on what you just said. Much of the tribalism results to layered experience, right? So we had the arrival of Rush Limbaugh, who changed radio because obviously the fairness doctrine was relaxed. He could do whatever, say whatever he wanted. So that sort of set us up. Monica Lewinsky scandal. Bush Gore.
Fox. Because Fox was what? Fox was created...
Yeah, right around that the Bush Gore time.
What was it, late 90s?
I don't know the exact timing. The rise of Barack Obama, who many people in this country, because of race, don't like, and still don't like, because they're racist. That also played into this. So we layered all those experiences. What I think, and how I would define this, and why I think this is an important topic, is first step of treatment is to understand you have a problem. I don't think we're even close to people understanding that social media is the problem at all.
Oh, I think we're getting there.
You think so?
I think we're getting closer.
What gives you?
There's something shifting as far as what I'm at least, and again, what is reality? Because maybe this is just because I've clicked on enough things that's talk about people wanting to get off of social media, so now I'm being fed more things that are talking about people wanting to get off of social media. But I feel like I am starting to see Isaac Saul. So we both really like reading Tangled right. News. He last week wrote a revolution is coming as far as there is a feeling I think that is growing of how bad these screens are for us, how bad screens are for our kids, how bad social media feels as far as you follow, originally we were following our friends and family. Now, and then that shifted into following writers, actors, people that you wanted to see the stuff that they're right. creating. Now you're just getting online and being showed what they think right. you want to see. It's not even the people that you're following. So that's feeling like, well, this isn't what I trust. This is what I know. And I just turn on my phone and it just feels like I'm getting yelled at all the time. So I think there is starting to be somewhat of a retreat. And I don't know where people go, but I've said this before, is what becomes, if everything can be AI, the value of in real life, real people connection becomes becomes the thing that's special. Right. Where the online exchanges is a commodity and you can't actually trust whether or not it's a real person or not, doing stuff in real life, doing things that actually can prove that you're talking to a human and can formulate an actual connection becomes of greater value, I think. So I think that there's going to be a human shift from being I don't want to do this anymore, even as it gets stronger, better, faster, whatever.
That's a hopeful
It might be a hopeful
response. I hope that's right, because I've been saying for a long time, and people talk about online dating and stuff. The reason you have a limp mic there, you're probably, your words need to excite. Let's put it that way. Yes, I said that on the podcast. I
said blow your load
on the
show today.
I got no reaction.
No, there was one person who texted. But what's the cleaner way to say that? Of don't Don't like expend all of your energy before the main event. What's a different way to say that?
I don't know, because I wouldn't say that.
Is there not another like idiom for that?
I'm sure there is. If you have an idea on that thought, send it to steve.scaffidi at WTMJ.com. Now, I forgot where we were going. I got to get back to where I was. You have a hopeful sort of look ahead at how people are going to react to that. I hope that you're right. I said that before, because I do believe that in person, online dating, I think is part of this problem, right? So we have all these people who are doing these matches online and, swiping left or swiping right, however that works. Never been on them, so I don't really know. And presuming that that's going to be sort of a better indicator of a match. But here's what I've said for a long time. Any idea, any notion that shared traits or shared interests is like the recipe for success, that's a delusion. What is interesting about a relationship, and I've been in one for 40 years as married and longer than that as together with my wife, is that the lack of shared interest sometimes is a sort of a motivator to find out what that person, in my case, my wife, why she likes that or why she's interested in that. So to get rid of that and just go for this sort of script that says this is what they are, this is what they like, blah, 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 that's my match, I think is stupid. And it sort of illustrates the point of all this, right? We are relying on something else to do what we should do. And if I'm going to sit here and say we're in the era of stupidity, which I still believe, strongly believe, that's my evidence. We have demonstrated over and over again.
What's the height of intellectualism if we're in the era of stupidity right now?
Intellectualism in the United States?
Sure. Like if we're claiming right now that we're in the era of stupidity, when was the height of intelligence?
When this country was created.
You think so?
Very few men created some amazing things. One, they created a country, and two, they created a constitution and a declaration.
So it's just been downhill since then?
No. I could argue that the rise of science 100 years ago roughly has been an amazing thing to watch, where we've although we're, again, era of stupidity, working backwards on that now. We're deciding that maybe vaccines aren't good. But that rise of all things science, all things healthcare and making people safe, those things were a positive. So that was a rise of intellectualism, at least on the science side of things. So we've had moments. But right now, we have this amazing tool, AI, and an amazingly dumb population. And the clash of those two things can only go two ways. One, it succeeds brilliantly and does make us all smarter. Or two, makes us even dumber, as I said before, because individually, we just let AI do it. We let the computer computes. We just sit there, put in the
how do you
prompts.
feel like the AI is going to make the general population smarter?
If you actually think about what you're inputting to AI, you actually think about a question. What do I know about now? People don't ask questions. They just do. They show up to work. They just do. They don't ask questions. They show up to anywhere. They go to a restaurant. They aren't doing anything. I mean, they're not asking any questions. They're just doing it, right? The same routine. The fish fries and old-fashioned folks. They do the same damn thing every Friday because for some reason they're programmed. Break out of that. I'm an old guy, but yet I'm embracing AI because I see the potential. One, to make us healthier. The great thing about AI right now, real time, diagnosis of health issues will be transformed.
But again, that's not the general public. I'm saying the
general public is going to be impacted by that.
The uses of AI in science and in medicine and stuff like that, that is separate than how is this tool going to make us smarter? If the argument where we started was the 2022 Jonathan Haidt Atlantic article that social media is making us dumber, like how is technology on the way that we as individuals use it in our personal life actually making us smarter versus just having access to more information?
So here's the hopeful side of that question for me, that the platforms themselves will also utilize AI, artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, to be able to supervise those amazing platforms in a way that's not destructive, that doesn't contribute to our dumbing down, that actually filters out nonsense, filters out things that aren't true. I'm a big free speech guy, but the things that are happening under the guise of free speech on social media platforms are not free speech. They're often hate-fueled, hate-filled, and destructive. And if AI can do anything in that grand perspective from the platform to the individual, it's to cleanse that from our palette of media consumption, digital consumption. That's what gives me hope.
But what motivation do the people who are creating this have to use it in that way.
It relies on someone who has ethics. That's the part that's scary, because the Sam Altmans, the Elon Musks, the Ellisons, Larry Ellison.
Who in that group right now? I mean, it's Sam Altman I've heard say some like responsible things.
Unless Bill Gates is going to own a platform,
even,
probably no one.
I don't even know if Bill Gates. You think Bill Gates is built his career on ethics and morality?
I think Bill Gates is a pretty good guy.
Wasn't the whole? I mean, the first thing I remember about Bill Gates was a Simpsons joke about how he came in with his bodyguards and would just like beat people up and like buy their company.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, I'm not sure the Microsoft of the like '90s and the growth. He was doing everything by the book.
You asked me for a hopeful look at it. I'm giving you a hopeful look. I think there can be someone who has ethics. And here's another argument you could make, given where we're at now, era of stupidity. History is a cycle. It's up and down. And maybe you have to see the bottom in order to see the top. So as bad as it's getting, and it's getting bad, perhaps this is the sort of motivator, the clue to the rich people, middle-class people, the poor among us, that maybe we need to correct our behavior.
Have you read The Fourth Turning?
No.
Have you heard of it?
No.
Do you know anything about the theory
You'll
of
tell
it?
me.
I'm probably going to do a bad job butchering the theory, but I learned about this from my brother. So there's a fair amount of like finance econ guys who subscribe to this, but it was a book that came out in the 97, and now there's a new edition that is The Fourth Turning is here, that basically breaks history down and kind of sees these cycles of 4 different eras and what happens in those eras leading to the next one. So basically, the first one being, and they last from like 20 to 30-ish years. And the argument is that right now we are in the fourth turning, basically replicating where we were at the brink of 100 years ago, where everything hit rock bottom with the Great Depression.
And they may be right.
And it took the Great Depression and so many people suffering to have so much innovation and prosperity coming out of World War II. Yeah. And what we talk about now, when like the MAGA folks talk about Make America Great Again, with no irony about the fact of when they're talking about the 50s and 60s, the top tax rate was 90% of the wealthiest people, and the ability to pay for things, and there was a lot of very strong government programs and all of this stuff that led to that kind of prosperity.
Would be never link MAGA with enlightenment.
No, I'm just saying, as far as a lot of the things you point back to, the era you were born into as a boomer, and the prosperity that grew out of that, and now the argument being that we are through the hard times make strong men, and then strong men have weak sons that lead to hard times or something like that. It's something along, like, it's basically that. It's like we have gotten very fat and happy and entitled as a society. And like, there's sometimes the doom and gloomer of, even though I am such an optimist, there is times where it's like, I don't know if anything gets fixed until a lot of us feel some more pain.
Yeah, the cycles of pain. You have to go through that.
Yeah.
And then once you do, you should have
I don't think any of this fixes itself without there being an actual cultural shift of people rejecting the technology, rejecting the things that are not good for us, and also just potential not the ability to access some of these extravagant resources, because it just comes back to survival and some of this stupid shit of the politics and the fighting, and not actually just emphasizing getting things done. And I don't know if this goes back to, there was times where there was always there was an external enemy for wars. And right now, the enemy feels, I think you ask most people who follow politics, and they feel way stronger about the other side, being either the right or the left, that is their countrymen, than a Russian. Or like any other country is feeling like that is our outside enemy, but we are Americans. Like, I think more people in America right now feel like at war with each other than any other kind of threat from a different nation.
We are motivated by hate. We were raising generations of people who want to fight and act out violently. We certainly see that with the mass shootings and gun violence. I want to be optimistic, and I at some point, if you really believe in artificial intelligence and the power of technology, one has to think that, used correctly, we can sort of figure these things out. But again, the other scenario where it just goes horribly wrong can also be realistic. And I wanted to bring this up as a topic because I think, first step, acknowledging there's a problem. And I still run into too many people who think social media is like the greatest thing on earth. And man, if you're experiencing that, either do what I do, which is heavily filter my social media so that I only see people that I like, because I'm frankly not interested in trolls, and which became a big part of my social media experience, or you're just not like connected to reality, there's something that has to change here. And I don't want us to be a dumb country, but test scores, violence.
That's what I mean. As far as like
crime,
so the ability
poverty.
that how we've never gotten more than 50% of the population going to college, right? Like there's still,
Right.
even though we get into our echo chambers of your social group. So it's like in my social group, almost everyone I know went to college, but that is not representative of the country, right? And so in the attempt of a decline in our public schools, a decline, and now there's a question of, is college worth it at all? Like, what do you see as the turnaround or the antidote if this is the era of stupidity? Like, how are we actually going to get smarter?
Great question. And I'm going to take it to politics. I sort of stayed out of politics for the most part in this conversation. But as anyone who listens to the show Point Taken, which airs 10 to 12 weekdays on 620 WTMJ, little ad there, knows I'm not a fan of the current president. I find him unintellectual, dangerous. What are the other terms you can? Someone who just has a clear lack of understanding about the complexity of any issue, whether it's tariffs to the economy in general, monetary policy, public policy, infrastructure, has no depth of knowledge. It's going to take a fundamental failure in the office of President of the United States for the country to, I think, finally wake up and say, what are we doing here? We have elected a fool who, yes, is very popular, some people love, but he's not qualified for the position he holds. And when you have someone who's not qualified for that position, they also hire people who are also not qualified. Look no further than Pete Hegseth, Department of War, which is everyone knows is Department of Defense. There's no official Department of War, even though he thinks, with his fancy hair and makeup, that's what you should call it. Or RFK Jr., who knows nothing about science. He was a heroin addict for 14 years, has a brain worm apparently, and I didn't even know there was a brain worm until he said it out loud, and basically bangs anything that moves. That's our Director of Health and Human Services. So what does that tell us? It has to get really bad before it gets good. Going back to your four turnings.
The fourth turning.
Fourth turning. Cycle.
Mike's
down.
reading it right now. I'll give it to you when he's done.
I look forward to reading it. There's some wisdom there. We got to wrap this up. Yes, I think it's an era of stupidity. Am I hopeful? Sort of. But I see technology not making us smarter right now. Eventually, it has the potential to, if it's managed in the right way, if that makes sense.
It's a big if.
That's a big if.
Capitalism I think might win out on that versus what's good for the human race.
What's your email?
KBREY@goodkarmabrands.com.
Mine is steve.scaffidi@WTMJ.com. This is You Need to Listen, and we think we would like to hear from you on any of the topics we talk about. So please send them along. We often get ideas. We get certainly feedback.
Love the feedback.
If you love the show, we're also in need of a partner for the show. So if you're a company or business who would like to sponsor this podcast,
We would love that.
you know what our emails are. We'll catch you on the next episode. It's going to feel like we're dressed the same, but we're going to do it anyway. You need to listen. Watch.